I don't see the,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, you are live.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm calling to order the meeting of the Board of Regents Academic and Student Affairs Committee. I'm going to ask that the roll be called.
Thank you. Chair Bloom,
Present.
Regent Budd, Regent Howery.
Here.
Regent Porth,
Here.
Regent Sasanker. Here. Thank you. And you have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you, Noreen. Okay, we have the first item is consent items, discontinuations. So no comment. We'll move to the action items.
So Regent Bloom, we have the minutes to approve before that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I always forget the minutes. My apologies. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the May 6th meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Minutes are approved. We have the consent items, and then we have the first action item, criminal justice ASA at Manchester Community College. Provost Kwitsnik, do you want to have any comment about that? And I think do we have people from the campus to present the program?
We do, Regent Bloom. So I'll introduce. Manchester Community College seeks approval for modification of a program, criminal justice, leading to an Associate of Science. These modifications better align the program to the Criminology Studies transfer pathway and to the aligned Connecticut State Community College Criminal Justice Program. The alignment with the Connecticut State program will provide for a smoother transition for students who begin the program at Manchester Community College and complete at Connecticut State Community College. Dean Fatma Salman will speak to the proposal and introduce colleagues as needed to comment and answer questions.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Klushnik. For some reason, my camera is giving me a hard time, so I apologize about the camera. So to go to the point, the Criminal Justice AS degree program is a well-established program at MCC for many years and has a proven track record. We have 2 full-time faculty, 15 part-time faculty dedicated to the program with a rich experience in the field. It is also one of the largest enrolled program in the state. Our criminal justice program also is the only program in the state colleges that has a dedicated crime lab for hands-on experience for our students. So the revision of the program that we have for you today is, as mentioned, to align it with the 11 colleges AS degree program, as well as the Criminology Studies program pathway curricula. So the modification also addresses the workforce needs and the safety of the community. Just I want to add to that the revision or the modification does not require extra staff nor expenses. So if approved by this body, it will be implemented fall 2022, and it will be beneficial to our students that entering the program academic year 20-21. I also have with me today Dr. Katie Kleiss. I see her, to also address more to the modification as well as the questions you might have. So Katie.
Thanks so much, Fatma. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. So as was mentioned, really, I did a lot of work on the curriculum alignment process over the last 2 years. And so what I'm attempting to do is to make the transition smoother for our new students that are coming in during the next academic year as we move to the CT State curriculum in 2023. So this hopefully will enable us to not have to teach out as many courses. One of the other notable additions, I think, is just, I don't really have anything additional to add besides what was already said, is that we did include a diversity course, a CJ designated diversity course. Of course, with the CJ task force, the findings that came out of that, and just our, given the current state of affairs and some of the issues that we have seen, felt it was important to add this. So students, if this modification is approved, students will have 4 courses to choose from that will be designated as a diversity-specific course. So I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Thank you. Are there any questions, comments? Seeing none, the motion to approve, is there a motion to approve this program?
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved. Congratulations. Program is approved.
Great. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
Great,
very
everyone.
thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Regent Bloom, if I may, we do need to take a motion second and vote on the consent items, even though there's no discussion. It is an action item, so
Yes,
we're
okay.
definitely going back and doing that.
We'll go back to 2A. We have 2 discontinuances, gerontology and the early childhood teaching credential. Is there any need to separate these? Nobody, okay. Is there a motion to approve the 2 discontinuations?
I can move that.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. New programs, B, Applied Data Science, Master of Science at Eastern Connecticut State University. Provost.
Thank you, Regent Bloom. Eastern Connecticut State University seeks approval for a new program in applied data science leading to a Master of Science. This program responds to one of the fastest growing career areas in Connecticut and the country. Provost Salka will speak to the proposal and introduce colleagues as needed to comment and answer questions.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kluchnik. Yeah, as Ken mentioned, this is really an extension of the data science major that we created and had approved 2 years ago. It is fully online program, and so we expect enrollments will grow quickly. And it's also designed in consultation with several Connecticut companies that we spoke to as the faculty were putting together this program. Those companies ranged from Cigna all the way out to Jackson Labs. And so what we did is ask them what they were looking for in people who had been trained in a master's in data science. We will note that Central also has a very strong online master's in data science program, but we believe that the creation or approval of this program will not impact their enrollments for 2 primary reasons. First, our program is distinct from Central's program. We focus on different skills that provide students with different employment pathways than Central's program does. And secondly, there is substantial demand for programs in data science at the master's level, both from students seeking that degree and employers seeking people with the master's to hire and work for their companies. So given the demand, we expect that this will produce revenue immediately as soon as we start it. We do not need to hire new faculty to teach in this program at this point because we have them for our data science undergraduate major. And in fact, we do expect enrollments to grow more quickly than the conservative estimates that we put into the budget. We were trying to be conservative, but even with those conservative estimates, this starts producing revenue almost immediately. And if it's approved, we will begin marketing it this summer with the hope to probably launch it in next spring. So I will now turn to my colleagues, Dr. Garrett Dancic, who's the chair of the Computer Science Department at Eastern, and Dr. Marcia Davis, who's the chair of the Mathematical Sciences Department at Eastern. And I believe Garrett will give you a little bit more detail on how our program is distinct from Central's.
Yes, thank you, Bill. So I want to give a bit of a background of our program and some context about sort of the history and where this master's program has come from. As Bill mentioned, we have an undergraduate data science major beginning fall 2020. And this is really an extension for that. But I also want to point out that data science is really something that we've been doing at Eastern for probably around 10 years. I was hired in 2013 to develop a minor in bioinformatics at Eastern. And so bioinformatics is essentially data science, but for biology. And so I've been teaching courses in bioinformatics and data science since that time. In 2016, the mathematical sciences department restructured their curriculum and started offering a concentration in data science. That was 2018. Prior to that, in 2016, we started talks across campus between faculty from computer science, mathematical sciences, and business about data science courses. As far as the program itself, as Bill mentioned, we've really designed this program to address the workforce needs of Connecticut. We've talked to various people from industry and got feedback that we've incorporated into the program. And so what I want to point out is some of the key aspects of our program, how those aspects align with the workforce needs of Connecticut, and also some of the ways in which our program is different from Central's. One of the big distinguishing features is one of the skills or programming languages that we cover, which is Python. And so that's something that we emphasize in our curriculum. Python really is the #1 in-demand programming language for data science. If you just search for that, Python will generally come up as #1 across a variety of lists. We also have data showing that in the last year, jobs that are posted where they're looking for people with a master's in data science, around 35% of those jobs are looking for people with knowledge of Python. Another skill that we emphasize is database and what's called big data. Database covers a programming language called SQL or SQL, and that's something that's also very much in demand. It's also requested in about 35% of the job postings in Connecticut for people looking for individuals with a master's in data science. The focus groups that we've talked to, the people from industry we've talked to, they all are very interested in both database and big data stuff and some of the technologies associated with those. And so those are things that we include in our program. Another thing to mention, and perhaps one of the biggest things that distinguishes our program, is that Eastern is a liberal arts college. And so we've really incorporated a strong liberal arts component into our program. And so what we mean by liberal arts are skills such as critical thinking and communication. And in fact, we have 2 courses, data communication and data visualization, that specifically address those. Those were some of the courses that our industry panels were most excited about. And communication and visualization, they told us, are skills that are super important. Actually, also around 35% of job ads specifically ask for communication skills. And not only are they important, but those are some of the skills that people that they hire struggle with the most in terms of learning those skills on the job. Finally, I'll point out a few other differences between our program and Central, not in the content, but a little bit in the structure. One has to do with the number of credits per course. So all of our courses are 3 credits, where Central has a lot of 4-credit courses, which is fine. But for our 3-credit courses, we've designed our program so that courses are 3 credits, and we can offer those courses over an 8-week time span. And so we suspect that that will be more appealing to part-time students. And in our program, students can also take multiple courses at the same time, which is not true in other programs where one course has to be taken as a prerequisite for other courses. Finally, we've mentioned the undergraduate major. And so what we want to do in the future is to build that into a 4+1 plan in order to retain those students that would be graduating with the undergraduate degree in data science and would want to go on to a master's. We've already had students graduate with either the data science concentration from mathematical sciences or from the computer science major who went on to data science master's programs, but outside of the CSU system. And those are students we think we could retain if Eastern had a master's program. Right, so I hope that gives a good summary of our program and highlights some of the differences in what makes our program unique. I'd be happy to take any questions. And as Bill said, I'm also here with Dr. Davis, who's the chair of mathematical sciences, and she can address any questions as well.
Regent Howery?
Hi, good morning. I just wanted to commend you for the work on this program. It's a really smart program, and working in technology, everything you mentioned from Python to SQL to having the communication and data visualization parts of it are really smart and on target for what a lot of companies are working for today. And I like that you all work together to address that need. And I love the liberal arts approach to it. So I can't wait to see what happens next for this program. But thank you for thinking it through and putting together a really smart program for us.
Thank you.
Regent Forth?
Yeah, and I'll just add to Regent Howery's comments by saying I appreciate the care you took in comparing your program to the program at Central. And I like Regent Howery, am excited about the chance to add new programs related to data science. And I wish you well in it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other comments or questions? I'm curious about you will be advertising this program. And I assume Central is advertising its program, or is it advertising?
I'm not sure how much advertising Central is doing for their program, but we spoke to the provost from Central, and their program grew very quickly. They started, and I think they started with 17 students, and within 2 years, they were up to 45 students enrolled. Our plan is to devote, and you can see it in the budget, we have a social media marketing firm that we have a contract with. And so if the board does approve this program, we have already begun speaking to them about an ad campaign that they will do. Really, they're very effective at targeting kind of working adults in this area who may want to come back and get a master's in data science.
And what when you don't, okay. Okay, thank you. I think that answers my question. Any other comments or questions? Is there a motion to approve this program?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations, your program is approved. Thank you for the presentation. It was a very good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is the paralegal program from Tunxis. Is there a motion to put that on the table for discussion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
thank you. Provost?
Thank you, Regent Bloom. Tunxis Community College seeks approval for a new program, Paralegal, leading to an Associate of Science. This program adopts the fully aligned curriculum of Connecticut State Community College, allowing students to begin the program during the 22-23 academic year and then smoothly transition to the Connecticut State program. Professor Fierro will speak to the proposal and introduce colleagues as needed to comment and answer questions.
Good morning. My name is Angela Fierro. I'm the program coordinator for the paralegal certificate here at Tunxis Community College. We are seeking approval for the full degree program in paralegal, consistent with the aligned curriculum developed by the paralegal work group and approved by the APRC in December of 2021. This will put us in a position to transition our students much more seamlessly throughout the consolidation process. At present time, we have 27 students enrolled in the paralegal certificate program at Tunxis, many of which wish to be full paralegal majors, but unfortunately, we won't have that until the consolidation. So this proposal aims to put them in a better position to be more fully aligned with the consolidation process. There will be no additional cost with respect to this proposal. We aren't looking to hire any new faculty at this time, and we already have our legal database services in place. So there's no additional cost to the system. All the benefit falls on the students who really wish to be majoring in paralegal rather than something like general studies, which is where they currently are placed in the system. If you have any questions, I'm certainly available to answer any of them. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Questions or comments? How is your program relating to the program at Manchester?
We fully align with the program at Manchester. In fact, when we brought the proposal for the certificate, that was one of the requirements, that the one college was not going to look for programs that came into conflict with each other. So the program at Tunxis is the same exact program at Manchester Community College. I worked very closely with Mary Holland, the program coordinator there, who was very gracious in sharing her knowledge and her curriculum with me. So we are completely aligned with Manchester, and I can say I had a very positive experience with the work group for paralegal from the campuses that are going to be offering that. We came up with a fantastic aligned curriculum for our students.
And what other campuses are involved in this?
Norwalk Community College, Naugatuck Valley Community College, Tunxis, and Manchester. I do understand that Housatonic Community College is trying to build a program there as well, and they're working with one of the deans to make that happen. But at this point in time, the only campuses which are offering paralegal are those 4.
And you are all together, the 4 of you are together, from what you're saying?
Yes.
With the aligned curriculum.
Yes, we worked very hard on it. We made sure that the advisory committee from Manchester Community College as well as Tunxis Community College, which are made up of attorneys and paralegals, that they had the ability to review the curriculum and weigh in on its quality. And it is based upon the curriculum that is currently approved by the American Bar Association through Manchester Community College.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Okay. So the students will have, the students who graduate from this program will have ample opportunity to go straight into paralegal positions.
Absolutely. The demand in paralegal right now is high, and it does not look to decrease anytime soon. We have major firms in the Hartford area, obviously, that we work closely with. The hiring manager from Shipman and Goodwin, which is one of our major firms, is on my advisory committee. So I do get the intel about how desperate some firms are for quality paralegals. It's a fantastic profession. I know that the students are really excited about it. And I do think that upon graduation, they will all easily be placed into good paying paralegal jobs. I'm frequently fielding phone calls from attorneys asking, how many students are you graduating? I need a paralegal. When are your students graduating? So I get those phone calls on a weekly basis, as I'm sure my fellow program coordinators at the other campuses get as well.
And this is I gather, a hybrid program?
I'm not sure I understand.
Is it on ground or hybrid or?
So
remote?
it is on ground. At Tunxis, we're offering all our classes on ground. The American Bar Association, through its paralegal education guidelines, has only recently allowed for live remote courses. And it took them a little bit of time to come to that conclusion through COVID. So I've been offering my courses on grounds. I don't want to fall astray of those ABA guidelines, but they have now said we can offer LRON classes. So I can roll those out as the semesters go along.
They have become more, as you said, they have become more flexible since COVID for the law schools also. I mean, so it's
Correct.
yeah.
Correct.
Any other comments, questions?
I'd just like to commend you on your collaboration with Manchester and the other colleges. I think this is great. This is a great example of collaboration that in the long term will really serve our students. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Regent Porth. Any other comments, questions? Motion to approve the program?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Program is approved by the committee. Thank you very much. It was an
Thank
excellent
you.
presentation, as Regent Porth said. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Next item is the CSU promotions and tenures from Eastern. Is there a motion to put this on the table?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Provost Kuchnick.
Thank you, Regent Bloom. So this is consistent with the AAUP collective bargaining agreement, and consistent with that agreement, the presidents of the 4 Connecticut state universities need to seek approval of their recommendations for promotion and tenure. In this case, the proposals are coming from Eastern.
Any comments? I'm sorry, Provost.
None from me. I don't know if Provost Salka has any comments here.
I don't, but I will happily answer any questions if there are any.
Usually there wouldn't be on this item like this, but thank you for being available. Motion to approve.
I'll move that.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Approved. Faculty research grants, item D, 3D. This is a continuation of an item that the committee had last week. I understand, Provost, that there are some modifications that were made from the original submissions.
Exactly. So there were just some clarifications and updates for 3 of our universities, Central, Eastern, and Western.
Any comments? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Regent Bloom, I don't think we took a motion and second on that one, did we?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Approve. Is there a motion to second?
So
There's a
moved.
second to the motion. Okay.
And I'll second it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved. Okay. Community College Emeritus, Provost Kuchnick.
This is also part of our collective bargaining agreement, and this one is with the 4 Cs. And that requires that community college submit their recommendation for emeritus status to the ASA and the board for approval. And in this case, Middlesex and Tunxus community colleges ask for board approval of the submitted emeritus request attached to the agenda.
Any comments or questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Second from Regent Porth. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion is approved. Next item is the refugee policy. Chief of Staff Pritchard.
Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your time this morning on this policy recommendation. I will not read it to you. It's very short, but I just want to call your attention to the process that we went through. So earlier this spring, the Faculty Advisory Committee chair, as part of a report, suggested that we look at this issue of how we support refugees. And President Chang asked me to work with campus leaders and system office leaders to identify a way that we could provide educational supports to students who wanted to start or finish their educations with one of our 17 institutions. Rather than going it alone, which sometimes we do, I turned to the Department of Social Services and was introduced to their resettlement agencies who provide refugees and asylees with a range of services to help them integrate into Connecticut's communities and economy. And so what this policy does is formalizes a relationship with the Department of Social Services and their resettlement agencies so that we can support those that they are serving who have been extended humanitarian aid by the state of Connecticut. We will establish a process for collaboration with the agencies, identifying what student needs are and helping to accept referrals from those agencies in working with our colleges and universities. We're going to convene a working group with a point of contact for each institution so that we can have a warm handoff between those being served by the resettlement agencies and our institutions, which is something that they said has not been as strong as they would certainly like it to be for those that they are serving. We are trying to provide a great deal of flexibility for the institutions while also, wherever appropriate, trying to promote consistency, one of our great challenges at CSCU. But so we have identified a number of resources that this resolution would approve for a campus leader to extend to refugees through this working relationship with the resettlement agencies. And that includes everything from in-state tuition and fee waivers to institutional aid, to assistance with scholarships, something that folks will obviously need in some cases, and then some additional support around housing perhaps as well. The particular area of focus for the ASA, and this policy will also be seen by the Finance Committee next week, but is assistance with the transferring of credits. In some instances, this could be pretty straightforward. In other instances, this is going to be a very complicated task as records are lost, et cetera. And so it will be a big piece of work for campus leaders and their teams to work with these agencies to try to support this transition. But that's the relationship that we are looking to build. So that's I just want to thank the campus leaders who provided me with input on the kinds of flexibility they need. If they come up with something else that they would like to award to students that is not approved in this proposal, they would need to come back to President Chang and ask for permission to do so. But I want to thank in advance those who will be tapped to be points of contact to work with the resettlement agencies. They provide services statewide, though they have a couple of primary offices. So we will work with all 17 institutions, including Charter Oak, as we move forward. So the campuses are eager to get started. We're already hearing from some of them about how they can help. The other thing that I'll mention is that the resettlement agencies are eager to help those who come directly to the institution, but have not yet engaged in services of the resettlement agency. So, the good thing about this is that we have an agency out there already that it helps people with their legal issues, with their housing issues, with getting their children into K through 12 school systems, et cetera. And so we do not need to do this alone, and we can really support the holistic needs of families and students. So again, just thank everybody who worked on this with me, and we look forward to your questions and also presenting it to the Finance Committee and then to the board at the June 23rd meeting as well. So Regent Bloom, I'll stop there and see if folks have questions. I see Regent Howard's hand and
Regent Sasenka, yeah.
Right.
I mean, Professor Sasenka. Okay. Regent Howery, thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, thank you. And actually, I'll defer to because I was going to talk about how I wanted to thank the faculty for bringing this issue forward, but I would like to hear from our FAC member, Professor Sasenka, first before I make comment. So, Kalina,
Professor
I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Thank you, Regent Howery.
Holly. Oh, thank you, Ira. And yeah, what I have to say is just really simple. I think this is great that this relationship has been established, and I'm happy to see where it's gonna lead us. So just nice work. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. I should mention, actually, as we started the call this morning, Regent Bloom suggested that reporting would be a very helpful thing to have back to this committee to hear how it goes. We certainly want to share our experience here. We could end up serving 5 students or 500. There's no way to know at this point, and so we expect this program to have to adjust to demand and the growing pains of a new relationship with these agencies, et cetera. So would suggest an additional resolved to the resolution that we presented to you. And if this would be a good time, I'd be happy to read a suggested statement. I don't know what the procedure, Pam, Noreen, about when I should do that, or Regent Bloom. So I have a suggestion for that as well.
Let us do one step before we do that. Can we put the resolution on the table as it comes from, as it came in the document for consideration? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, Alice, now it's on the table.
So do we need to move to amend?
Well, let's see. Alice is going to talk about the amendment for a second, I think.
Holly, you have your hand still raised. Is this your old question or, there it goes. It's gone. Never mind.
I would suggest the addition of a final resolved to the resolution that was presented that would read something like, resolve that the CSCU System Office will report to the board in October of 2022 and each fall thereafter on the results of this initiative.
Is there a motion to put that amendment on the table with the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second. Okay. That is now discussion of the amendment.
Regent Bloom, I just want to say, sort of back up or follow up on Professor Sasankar's comment. I was delighted to see this on the agenda. I think this is really good work. It's obvious that many people have already put effort into this, and I look forward to the first report back on this because I think it's an important part of our mission. So thank you.
Other provost?
Just a point of clarification, Alice, in the amendment. Will this go to any of the committees? I think when we say BOR, it might be unclear whether it's going to ASA and or finance, since they will have been the original locations for the approvals. So are you asking that they go to committee?
Yes.
Yes.
So we can work to clean that up. I was just
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Committees of cognizance.
Yeah. Thank you.
But yes, my expectation is it would go to ASA and finance and not in fact necessarily to the full board, except for as an information item. So.
Informational item, yeah.
Yeah.
Other comments on the amendment? Okay. All in favor of the amendment as Chief of Staff Pritchard put it on the table? In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The amendment is now part of the resolution. So the resolution is now on the table as amended. Other comments about Chief of Staff Pritchard, you're about to say something. No.
Good. I'm all good. Just looking forward to getting started.
Okay. There's one concern I had, and I assume that the working group will look at this. Given the fact that the community colleges will be all together as of the fall of 2023, how some of the courses that are transferring from international universities come into the system. As I understand it now, each campus makes its own assessment of transfer of how the courses transfer into that college. But I think we want to just keep in mind that as of next year among the community colleges, there will have to be consistency in how we look at these incoming courses. So that's an issue, I think, for the working group and for for the president of the community college system and President Chang.
I will make that note and make sure we address that as part of the working group.
Other comments on this resolution as amended? All in favor of the resolution as amended?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution is approved. Thank you very much.
Yep.
That's a great. I think this is an important step here. So thank you. Next resolution, the areas of study policy. This is G. Provost.
Thank you, Regent Bloom. Connecticut State Community College seeks approval of a modification to the existing areas of study policy. Amy Fest, Associate Vice President of Programs and Curriculum, will describe the proposed modification and answer questions from the committee.
Glad to be here this morning. Thank you for straightforward. So,
Ms. Feast, I'm having a little trouble hearing you. I don't know if anybody else.
Yeah, your volume is very low. You're not muted, Amy, but the volume is very low.
hear me now?
Not really.
Hold on 1 second. I'm going to go into Mike Stefanowicz's office. Hold on 1 second.
Regent Bloom, we could continue to the next item and reach.
Yes, we could. Yes, I was going to say yes. Okay. Next item is H, Connecticut State Community College Aligned Curriculum. Is there a motion to put this on the table?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Provost.
Thank you, Regent Bloom. Connecticut State Community College seeks approval of the final set of aligned curriculum for the college. This set of programs and courses represents, as you know, countless hours of work by community college faculty and a very dedicated team of alignment managers. As we always emphasize, special recognition goes to Dr. Fran Rosselli, Interim Associate Vice President of Academic Programs and Curriculum at the System Office, and her team of alignment managers. Associate Vice President Fran Rosselli will introduce the proposal and answer questions.
Good morning. Is my volume okay?
Yes, you're fine.
Thank you. It is my pleasure this morning to present you with the last 63 aligned degrees and 44 aligned certificates for Connecticut State Community College. We started this process with just under 1,000 degrees and certificates, approximately 4,500 courses across our 12 campuses. As you're aware, those numbers included many degrees with the same name but different requirements, and many courses with the same name and number but different prerequisites, learning outcomes, contact hours, and so on. Through our alignment work, we've addressed these disparities, and our first Connecticut State catalog will include 300 degrees and certificates and just over 1,700 courses. We could not have gotten here without the work of hundreds of people, and I hope you will indulge me for just a few minutes to publicly acknowledge some of these individuals. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge and thank the hundreds of community college faculty who devoted their time and energy to aligning their curriculum. This was not easy work. It was often done with incomplete information, involved passionate discussions, and valid differences of opinion. It was also, in far too many instances, completed in the face of open hostility and harassment and at a cost to professional and personal relationships. The dedication of these faculty to their programs and their students cannot be overstated, and it is truly inspiring to me. And while we have reached our initial goal of aligning the curriculum, we know that there is still work to be done. This curriculum will need further attention and refinement in the year ahead. And now that the bulk of the work is done and the substantive change request for CT State accepted, I hope that this additional work can be accomplished in a renewed spirit of collaboration. I also want to acknowledge and thank CSCU and CT State leadership and administration, as well as members of the board, especially this committee, for their support. Without the support of the offices of the president, the provosts, and especially HR, we could not have completed this work. I know the public narrative around this merger is that leadership has not been responsive to faculty concerns. And while I can't speak for the experience of others, it's been my experience that that's not the case at all. In fact, I found it to be quite the opposite. I think the unsung heroes of this work, however, are the Aligned Program Review Committee and the alignment managers. The Aligned Program Review Committee is our transitional curriculum committee that reviewed each and every one of those 300 degrees and certificates and 1,700 courses. Members of this committee were also responsible for coordinating the endorsement process at their local campus. Over the last 2 years, 23 full-time faculty and staff have served on this committee. And while most college curriculum committees meet once per month, or even less than that, over the course of a semester, in the last year alone, this committee met 20 times and devoted over 4,000 combined hours to curriculum review. The curriculum alignment team is a small team of faculty volunteers who help faculty complete their proposals. They answer questions for faculty. They assist with outreach to colleagues for feedback on proposals or for course syllabi. They finalize documents for APRC review. They compiled comments and questions from the APRC and review those with the faculty. And they also review the campus endorsement feedback with the faculty. I think all of the faculty who worked on alignment would agree with me that the managers were integral to the success of their work. These individuals were Sue Barzatini, Kim Sorrentino, Jane Pearson, Marcia Bryant, Nancy LaRose-Shovac, Diane Clokey, and in the past semester, we've been led by Amy Fast. I honestly don't know how we could have completed this work without them, and I am incredibly grateful to them. And last but not least, for the last year, I've been the one standing before you presenting the Connecticut State curriculum, but I wasn't the one who actually spearheaded this work at the beginning. That was Mike Stefanowitz, and who's in the background there, and Pat Buffard, who's since retired. I think Connecticut State owes them a huge debt for taking on the challenge, for weathering the many storms along the way, and for moving it forward with the utmost professionalism. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions about the curriculum.
Regent Howry?
Hi, good morning. I do not have questions, but I do want to say thank you to everyone who worked so hard. And as you said, it is not possible to name everybody who was a part of this process. And I have to tell you, when you brought the first batch forward, I thought there's no way we're going to get this done. But I trust the process. And so trusting the process pays off. Thank you very much for all of the massive amount of work that went into this. And I couldn't be more proud to see it all come together. So thank you so much.
Other comments?
Regent Bloom, I'll again echo Regent Howry. I'm newer to this process, but during my time on the board, it's been amazing to watch as this has taken form, and it's also really impressive the amount of work that went into it. And I know it wasn't easy work, but it was, I believe, done professionally and with mutual respect, at least from my vantage point, among all the different participants. And I want to say thank you for that. It's amazing to me that we're now, toward the end of that process. So thank you.
Any other comments? I want to third that, I guess, to be as chair of the committee. It's a very impressive work that you've done, and we thank you and the team that you worked with to do it. I mean, I've gone through these documents. My day job, I have some familiarity with this area, and this is extremely impressive. And it's as both Regent Howry and Regent Porth said, this is our appreciation and our thanks to all the people, you as the leader and all the people that you have worked with on this project. So thank you. And any other comments, questions? Well, this is the last one. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Approved by the committee, the last one.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Okay. Back to our areas of study policy.
Thank you. I don't know what's wrong with my computer. It was working perfectly when we started the meeting, so thank you for, I'm crashing in Mike's office, so thank you. I would be remiss before I started, though, to make sure that we don't underestimate the leadership that Fran has brought to APRC. She doesn't give herself enough credit. The hundreds of hours I think I've spent in meetings with her, negotiating through details to make sure that curriculum really was the best that it could be for our students. It has been amazing, the work that she undertook as Fran. We all kind of were lucky to work with her in this process. So I just don't want to underestimate that she doesn't get the thanks she deserves, because of all of us, I think she deserves the most. So I just want to get that publicly on record. What I have before you today is a very, very small policy change. So when we first introduced the areas of study about 3 years ago, we did define them as specific areas of study that we felt were appropriate at the time. And what we've learned as we've gone through the alignment work and as we've worked with faculty is that the areas of study that were originally presented are slightly different than the areas of study we've now landed with. But more importantly, we feel it's important for the policy to allow some flexibility, because we know that as time goes on and as industry has new demands, that we may, again, in the future, want to make slight shifts in where our areas of study land. So this policy allows a little bit more flexibility for us. The areas of study currently are aligned with the curriculum. They're being aligned for our GPA advisors. They're really steering a lot of our work. But as with everything else, change happens, and we don't want to be bound by the ones that were originally listed, knowing that they did have some limitations to what we were able to do to support our students. So that's really what is before you today, is just to allow some more flexibility and not have them specifically named in the policy.
Motion to put this on the table?
I'll move that.
Second.
Second.
Comments, questions? I have a comment or a proposal on this item as well. I think as we did with the earlier policy on, I think it may be useful to have an annual report here as well, given to the committee and through the committee to the board on what changes, as these areas of study involve, because we've moved, as you said, from a very specific set of items to delegating it, which is fine, but I think it's important to have an update so that the board is aware of how it's evolving.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a very good idea.
Can we have a motion similar to, Pam, you have the motion similar to the motion we had previously?
I don't have it. Noreen will have it.
Okay. So the essence of this would be that there would be further resolved, that would be an annual report to the committee on how the alignment is shaping up as we move along. And
Regent Bloom, I believe on page 78 of your packet, there is the last sentence directs CT State Community College President and Provost and their designees to provide regular updates.
Yes.
It's there, but I think you wanted to include some comment about bringing it directly to the committee.
Yes. So
to bring it to ASA.
Okay, yeah. And I assume this will go through whatever curriculum process, faculty curriculum process that will exist in the new government. I don't know how the new governance process will shape up at Connecticut State, but I assume this will go through the normal curriculum process.
The naming of the areas of study would probably not. That's just kind of administrative titles for those various departments. The curriculum within each will.
Curriculum within, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely, but the actual naming of them, it's kind of like just the naming of departments, which normally don't go through a governance
Yes.
structure.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Other comments on this item? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Regent Bloom, I think, has there been enough of a change to the amendment where we need to vote on the amendment? Or are we satisfied with the current resolution? It was unclear to me.
I guess that's why I think you're right. We should vote on the amendment first and then on the.
It is not a substantial change to make an addition to identify the committee of the board that would hear this report. So
Okay.
Regent Bloom, you can make a friendly amendment and just make it as a, and just make a friendly amendment.
Okay, so this will be as a friendly amendment. There will be an annual report to ASA in the fall as
to provide regular updates
updates
to the Academic and Student Affairs Committee of the Board of Regents on the implementation success.
Yes, of this. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Okay. We don't need a formal amendment, so we now have a friendly amendment, courtesy of ma'am. So thank you. Okay, so all in favor of this resolution with the friendly amendment?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Resolution approved. Thank you. Another important step in this process. Okay. Informational items now. Thank you very much for our visitors. CSU Emeriti informational item 4.1. 4B, community college promotion and tenure items. I think we can approve them. We'll do in two, just note them in two separate parts. We don't approve them, just note them.
Information.
So we're noting the two informational items. Next item is the 4C, the Acme report and update. Provost, are you starting that?
Sure. Thank you, Regent Bloom. In May 2021, the Board of Regents passed a policy on the alignment and completion of mathematics and English. The policy requires an annual update to the board. Michael Stefanowicz, Associate Vice President of Academic and Student Affairs, will present the update.
Thank you, Ken. Good morning, Regents. As Provost Kluchnik said, I'm Mike Stefanowicz. I'm here to provide a summary of the incredible work done by our ACME teams over the past year. As stated, the Board of Regents passed the ACME policy on May 20th of 2021, and in the past 12 months, a flurry of work and activity has occurred, of which I'm pleased to report. I have submitted a collated annual report from the three areas, English, ESL or ESOL, and math in the agenda materials, which provide more detail. But I just wanted to take a few minutes to highlight items today. The ACME work began formally a few years ago with work groups and recommendations on a policy, but the implementation really began in summer of 2021, about a year ago. As per the policy, faculty leads were identified for each of the major areas of ACME, English, ESOL, and math, and a framework was established for the work for the upcoming year. The CSCU Student Success Center was able to access the Dana Center for technical and planning support through its grant network, and the Dana Center partnership proved to be a great help as we navigated a busy year of planning, curriculum development, and building of academic infrastructure for ACME. Just as a reminder, ACME does stand for the alignment and completion of math and English. I wish to publicly thank our academic discipline leaders for their commitment and leadership over the past year to this work. We have Professor Deborah Rimkus for math, Professors James Gentile and Andrew Sotilli in English, and Professor Hannah Meckel-Reike for ESOL. The co-chairs of the ESL Council, Professor Carl Gieri and Professor Melanie Majeski have also engaged in this work. Each lead worked with teams of faculty from across our 12 community colleges to collaborate on this project. Importantly, statewide, there's a growing faculty understanding of and openness to this new model. This work will continue over the summer and through next year as the curriculum becomes finalized, professional development occurs on our new co-requisite models. All of the faculty working on this project are committed to student success, especially our leads. They have been leading weekly working meetings to organize the implementation of this project. The exciting news is that we believe we're in a position to roll out co-requisite models at scale for fall of 2023, the first semester of Connecticut State Community College. This is a huge lift, as the saying goes, and it will bring consistency and equity to our offerings and help improve our student success metrics as the One College moves forward. When the policy was approved last year, the timeline was extended to fall of 2025 in case that time was needed. But our faculty have enthusiastically embraced the change and feel we're in a position to move at scale for fall of 23. As you can see in the detailed reports, curriculum has been designed for the co-requisite support classes for English 101, 3 math pathways, and a new co-requisite ESOL course. And looking at national best practices, the English faculty have redesigned English to include a 3-credit support class paired with the traditional English composition course for students who are determined to need additional assistance with more basic English skills. In the English area, in addition to the curriculum developed, a Making the Case webinar, 3 webinars focused on the work and lessons learned in the California Acceleration Project, as well as a panel discussion on local co-requisite models have been held. Additionally, the group is making recommendations on transitional supports and a directed self-placement process. The ESL Council and Work Group has aligned the elective courses from across the colleges for grammar and communication and has aligned the Advanced English Proficiency Certificate. ESOL has also begun detailed work on guided self-placement. The math group has developed 3 math pathways and identified 4 additional specialized pathways. These pathways are designed so that students will enroll in the correct type of math for their goals and programs. For example, a student in business would be on the statistics pathway. A student in engineering would be on the college algebra pathway. Math has also created support courses for the entry-level math in each area. The Math Pathways group has participated in 3 foci series training workshops, 6 webinars by the Dana Center, a math system-wide professional day, and is developing a guided self-placement process for new students. And I believe an example of that was in the materials. The structure that we've developed over the year includes a small implementation group or ACME core steering committee, which meets weekly, and a larger ACME advisory committee, which meets 2 to 3 times a semester. A variety of stakeholders are on these 2 committees, and membership of the committees, all reports and supplemental materials, including recordings of webinars, links to relevant articles related to co-requisite models, can all be found on our System ACME website, which is www.ctu.edu/ACME. Lastly, I would like to recognize and thank Dr. Laura McCarthy of Northwestern Community College, who has been our project manager and ACME shepherd. Laura has worked tirelessly to organize meetings, coordinate our partnership with the Dana Center, and in general, keep the trains running on time. She's just been great. I'm excited about the work that's occurred over the past year and very excited about the work that will occur this year to get us to fall of 2023. I want to thank everybody involved. Thank you for your time today. Happy to answer any questions on behalf of the ACME teams.
Questions, comments? Regent Porth?
I I just want to say that I'm excited too. I'm aware of the fact that there's not a complete agreement on some of the strategies behind the ACME initiative, but based on what we're learning uh, across the country, and based on the really good work being done in our own system by Professor Stefanowitz and many others, I'm very hopeful that this will help us address one of our biggest challenges involving retention and success. Thanks.
Thank you.
Professor Sasenka?
Yeah, so there is, I know, still some concern about the fact that, we were told that there would be an extended implementation and time to collect data to confirm that these are effective ways of delivering these courses. And that extension was out to fall 2025. So I think it took a lot of us by surprise, FAC especially, because we'd had these conversations that we're expecting full implementation in just about a year. And so I just really want to kind of put that on the record and say that I think I'm a little disappointed that we're not doing that. In Tennessee, we don't know, none of these studies that we are using data from, none of them are designed precisely like ACME. And again, to an extent, ACME is not a co-requisite model. ACME is a model that provides optional supports. So we don't have data on how successful this would be, but I do know that a lot of what I believe that we moved forward on this, based on what we learned from Tennessee, and in 2018, Tennessee thought that because these gateway courses completion in the first year was an indicator of success and completion in college, that this would advance that goal. And we see that now in February of this year, the conclusion that they've come to is that it actually doesn't have that effect. So this effort to get students through college math and English in the first year, which was meant to somehow contribute to the expectation that they're more likely to succeed or to persist or to transfer. None of those results have been observed in Tennessee. So, I really want to urge some caution here, and I think that a slower implementation where we can track data and modify as necessary, as opposed to throwing everyone into this immediately in fall of 2023 when so much else is going on, might be wise. So yeah. And I will be able to talk about this more with FAC next week. But I know the initial reaction to that response was definitely disappointment.
Yeah, and I can address a few comments, Kalina. One is I just want to be clear that the decision to move at scale for fall of 23 was not an administrative decision. That was a decision that came from the faculty work groups. The curriculum is being designed by the faculty. The leads have done a wonderful job working with faculty from across the system. And we did give a window of until fall of 2025. Certainly that involves a bigger lift in order to move quickly. We need to do a lot of professional development over the next year in order to get there. But those decisions were left to the faculty work groups. The other thing I will just share is that I disagree a little bit. This is a co-requisite model. The difference being that students who come in would have the option to take the gateway level course without the support. That is in the policy, and you're right to point that out. But students certainly will be advised, and the default by the policy would be that students would enter the gateway level course with the co-requisite support. I would also just share, and as the reports pointed out, that Our model is really, I think, much closer to the California model, and we've done quite a bit of professional development. Our English faculty had 3 webinars with a person who was from California and teaching in that model. And I think that I would want to look a little bit more at their research to see. I think part of the response that I've heard from faculty is concern over our current numbers and our current success rates and throughput, if you will, of students who are in our developmental sequence. And we know that a prerequisite model, at each step that students move from one level to another, we lose students. Students drop out, life happens, things happen, and that effect is really exacerbated for our minority students. So, I think a lot of folks in the system are hoping to do this as soon as possible because we feel like the students need the help as soon as possible. I do agree, and there are data points that are in the policy that we will be tracking. We're actually been looking at data currently, and we have data from our PA 1240 work with our embedded model, which is really a co-requisite model. So I'd like to think that our faculty are doing a wonderful job of looking at what's out there and taking the best practices from the various states that have moved in this direction, whether it be Tennessee, Texas, or California. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? Item is duly noted then.
Thank you.
Thank you. We then have below threshold items. Since there's no further business, is there anything, any good and welfare or anything before we have a motion to adjourn? Have I lost something along the way? Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
I just want, before we actually finish, I just want to ask that we make a note of the compliments to Fran Rosselli and her staff in the minutes of the meeting. So it's a matter of record. The motion to adjourn is pending a vote. So all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you all for participating. And this has been a longer than usual meeting we've had, but I think we've accomplished a lot of important items today. So I appreciate everybody's time and patience. Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
I hope everybody has a good June. I guess we will see each other at the June board meeting.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Your live stream is stopped. And the WebEx recording is stopped as well.
Thank you, Pam.
Thanks, guys.